I am very proud to present this interview with Rabbi Elhanan Beck, who kindly agreed to answer some of my questions on Sunday, February the 2nd, 2025. I just had one clear purpose for this interview, which was to ask a strictly observant Orthodox rabbi how our Jewish religion determines the Jewish people to have a state. I simply wanted a biblical scholar's answer to this question. In order to evaluate as purely as possible biblical information concerning a Jewish state, I made a judgment to the effect that the strictly observant Jewish minister who I interview needs to come from a branch of Judaism that predates Zionism. Zionism is a relatively new branch of Judaism, which is why it was so important for me to find someone who consciously uses and interprets sacred Jewish texts from a time before Zionism existed. I'm not personally suggesting by saying this that we go back in time to literally following biblical decrees, such as stoning each other for adultery, as per Deuteronomy chapter 22, verses 22 to 24, and all the other so-called sins listed in the Old Testament. I just simply wanted to make a separation between an ideology that's crept into Judaism relatively recently and a Judaism in a purer form. I also wanted to try to avoid political questions as much as possible, even though, as you'll see, we do stray a little into the political sphere. But on the whole, this interview just looks at the essence of Jewish scriptural tradition. It's also important to reinforce the fact that Rabbi Beck himself, on his mother's side, comes from a generations-old Jewish family based in Palestine. So it's important that we acknowledge that Rabbi Beck is speaking from actual lived experience rather than what one might read in books. I would also like to mention that the journalist and commentator Melanie Phillips has recently implied, wrongly I might add, that ultra-Orthodox Jews such as Rabbi Beck aspire to rule over the indigenous population of Palestine. She arrogantly misrepresents the ultra-Jewish community when she says the following.
Yes, a small fringe of ultra-Orthodox Jews campaigns against the state of Israel, but they nevertheless pray every day that the Jews should return to live in Zion free of foreign rule. Their beef is they think the return in Israel is premature and should happen under different conditions, so their problem is a matter of timing. What they do not believe is the core doctrine of anti-Semitism, that the Jews have no right to the land of Israel.
Now, I'm sure Melanie Phillips knows how disingenuous she is being when she makes these comments, because in phrasing it in the way she does, that is, that these ultra-Orthodox Jews pray every day for a Zion free of foreign rule, implies that ethnic cleansing and therefore bloodshed would be on the agenda for such a return. And this is shamefully misleading, because she fails to mention that these Jews consider it a violation of Judaic law to consider violence against any fellow human being to be used, considered, or even implied, as Phillips is doing here, as a method for the return to the Promised Land. And I invite Melanie Phillips to prove me wrong if she happens to come across this video. I would also like to invite Ollie Anisfeld of JTV to view this interview, because a large percentage of his station's output is devoted to trying to biblically justify the current existence of a Jewish state. Setting up a television channel to promote a present-day Jewish state is a gross violation of Judaic law and an abomination in the face of our God. I urge Mr. Anisfeld to either shut down his channel or do a crash course in what Judaism really is about. we will see one of many examples of this Israeli puppet's propaganda later on. Large sections of this interview with Rabbi Beck are taken up with warnings from the Bible and the Talmud against a Jewish state at this time. And the rabbi would explain the proper biblical context for the return of the Jews to the Promised Land. Finally, I would just like to say that Rabbi Beck has revealed himself in this interview to be a deeply spiritual and humane person who is immersed in the true values of the Jewish faith. For this reason, I urge you to watch the whole thing to the end. And yes, it's over an hour and a half long, but you won't fail to be inspired by the rabbi's attitude and great love for humanity that a true Judaism inspires. And his words concerning the Messiah and what or who this is should give you great food for thought.
Jews are in exile in today's day. We are in exile by divine decree. God sent us in exile. The Zionists often waving the flag of the promised land, the promised land, the promised land. But what they're ignoring is what is written in the Torah many times, that the land was promised for Jewish people conditionally, if they keep a high level of life. If not, it's written in the Torah many times, they will be exiled of the land.
Rabbi Beck, thank you so much for allowing me to do this interview with you.
I want to ask in the beginning, you've forgiven us, that I'm going to speak about Judaism in my view. Yes, we are not recognized really in secular Judaism. So
Yes,
I didn't want to offend you personally.
No.
I'm just going to speak from the Jewish perspective. I understand that your audience in the YouTube channel is not Jews, especially. This is everyone.
Yes, it is everyone, but there's also quite a lot of Zionists.
Yes, I don't care for the Zionists, but I didn't want to offend people personally when I'm going to speak what, in my perspective, what means Judaism and what not. And in my perspective, secular Judaism is not a part of Judaism. So don't feel offended.
No, I understand.
I just bring out the approach, the Torah approach, and I'm sorry, I said it before, because don't feel offended. I don't mean people. I don't speak to people. I speak about topics.
Right.
You understand?
No, I do understand. But I just on that subject, there's a rabbi in America who's done a lot of YouTube talks. I'm just wondering if you're aware of him, or even if you might know him, which is Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro.
Yes, of course.
Is he a friend of yours?
Yes, I know him good.
That's very interesting. Because he's someone, who, along with yourself, who I've, listened very carefully to and have a lot of respect for. So that's very interesting.
Yes.
I just wondered if you could just tell me a little bit about where you're from. Are you from Eastern Europe or?
So I will tell you what my background.
Yeah.
My name is Rabbi Beck. I live here in Stamford for nearly 40 years. I born in Palestine, in Jerusalem. My mother is already 7 generations in the Holy Land. My father came from Budapest, Hungary. He was a Holocaust survivor in the years 1944, when the Nazis occupied Budapest. In this year too, he was hidden in a bunker with other 127 Jews. Not all of them survived, but he, with many of them, survived in that bunker. And after the Holocaust, he gone to study in Rome in Italy for a few years, and then he go to the Holy Land. He arrived in the Holy Land 2 months after the creation of the State of Israel. And he was young, about 14 years, something like that. And he studied there, and he understand the idea of Zionism is complete in contradiction with Judaism, as I will explain later. So he becomes really a strong fighter against Zionism. Fighter doesn't mean putting bombs and something like that. Fighting means in the ideology, to keep people, to open the mind of people, and to make them understandable why the idea of Zionism is wrong and why it's in contradiction to Judaism. And they gone out also of demonstrations, and one of the principles of the real Orthodox Judaism in Palestine, in the Holy Land, is not to recognize in the state as much as they can. So when they go out on demonstrations, they didn't take any permit. They refused to take a permit. So the police came and they beat them and they put them in prison. It's not like English country what people can go out to demonstrate and the police just protecting them. You understand?
This happened to your father in Palestine?
Yes, not only my father. I mean, there was large demonstrations, tens of thousands of Jewish people coming out to demonstrate. And the police came down to the rabbinical court there. It's called the Eda Haredis, in the head of the head rabbi, the chief rabbi then, it was his name, Rabbi Pinchas Epstein. And the police asked them, why we should beat you? Just ask for a permit. We come to support it. He said, no, we will never ask from you a permit. We are not recognized in the state. So they're going out on demonstrations without a permit. Here you go out without a permit. Here in England, it's nothing. The police just come to protect you and watch. Nothing happened. But there, it's different. If you're going out without a permit, they're coming and beat you and put in the prison. My father was very many times in the prison.
In prison, right, yeah.
In Israeli prison.
Yeah.
And even not only for protesting, even sometimes just for giving speeches against the state.
Right.
And to say for people that the state of Israel is against the Jewish principles, don't recognize in the state, don't take any benefit, don't go to the army. Because of that, they arrest him.
Yeah. If Israel hadn't been created as a state, you would probably be in that area anyway, or your father would have been in that area
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
There's possibly something about that area that your father came to for. He came from Hungary to Palestine.
Give a look. After the Holocaust in Hungary, there were really no Orthodox Jewry anymore. I can't say there isn't. There is. But then the communists, the USSR, comes over Hungary. They close the synagogues. They close the institutes, the Jewish schools. They leave Jewish schools, but only secular ones. If you want to keep the religion, it's against their principles. So if you want to remain a a religious Jew, we have to find some other places.
So in Palestine they didn't allow.
Not in Palestine, in Hungary.
Oh, sorry, this is in Hungary.
Hungary
Yeah.
goes after the Second World War.
Yeah.
It became communist.
Oh, I
it
see.
became under the USSR.
Yeah.
So because of that, people want to remain Orthodox Jews. They have to go out and find another place. Many people gone to the USA. Many people come to England. Many people going to the Holy Land.
Yeah.
Everybody going on his choice. So my father gone there to the Holy Land.
He went to the Holy Land, right?
So, and again, as my mother side, she's already 7 generations in Palestine, in the Holy Land there. I born there, and I live there up to 1970. 1970 we gone out, we come to England, and then to the USA. A small time we was also in Canada.
Right.
And I myself, I grown up mostly in Canada and the USA. There I learned to become a rabbinical teacher in the USA. And the last 40 years I'm very active to fight against the state of Israel. Again, fighting don't means in physical means.
Yeah.
It means to bring out the ideology and to speak to people and spreading out leaflets and booklets and organize speeches and I give myself speeches and this means fighting the ideology of Zionism.
I'd just like to know also about the kind of anti-Zionist Jews in this Stamford Hill area. A lot of you are you're all regarded as Hasidic Jews. I guess that there's you all differ in various. Some must be more Zionistic. Is that correct? In Stamford Hill, are most of the Orthodox Hasidic Jews in this area, are they anti-Zionist?
Not the most, almost all of them. Not all of them, I can say 95% of the Jews living here in Stamford Hill. When I'm speaking about Jews, I'm speaking about people looks like me, this type of Jew. I can say most of them are non-Zionist, and the rest, up to 95%, are 95% are non-Zionist, and about 60% are strong anti-Zionist.
Well, that's a big deal for me to know that, because
you can see that it's not only here in Stamford Hill. Same thing is in Manchester, the same thing is in Newcastle, and the same thing is all over the world, like Belgium and Antwerp, or you're speaking about Vienna, Austria, or you're speaking even in Australia, in Argentina, of course in New York, in Canada. People looks like me. This type of people, they are almost anti-Zionist.
Well, you see, that in a way, that's something I've just learned from you, because
you can see that if you go here in this area, or choose any area in the world where you see a concentration of people like me, this type of people, you want to see the Israeli flag.
Well,
you just drive to this area, yes, it's about 3 miles, 3 miles. You won't see even one single Israeli flag.
Well, yeah.
Palestinian flags you can find here,
but
not Israeli flag, even not one single one. And the same thing is in Manchester, the same thing is in, as I told you, even in Australia, in Argentina, where you see a concentration of people looks like me. You can call them Hasidic Jews, ultra-Orthodox Jews, Haredi Jews, no difference. This type of people, you won't see an Israeli flag in general. Of course, it can happen, but in general, you can't see an Israeli flag.
So there is a 5%, which I guess might be Chabad. Those are Zionists, aren't they?
Even in Chabad, is divided in two.
Right.
They are supporting Zionism, and they are against Zionism. Even the supporters of Zionism, yes, if you ask them, sit down by the table, ask them, you are supporting the idea of Zionism? They will say no. So why do you support Israel? Because it's danger. If not, we will be killed. The Muslims want to kill us.
Right.
But they are not supporting Zionism about the idea. They are supporting even this part of Chabad, but they are supporting Zionism. They know very well that their own rabbis in the previous generation was very strong against the idea of Zionism. So they're supporting Zionism only because of the danger. It's not true. It's not a danger. I will come to that later. But they are brainwashed that there is a danger if they will not support Israel. So because of that, they're supporting Israel. But they know very well that Zionism is ideology, the ideology of Zionism is diametrically opposing Judaism.
Right. Have you had any contact or discourse with the Chief Rabbi?
No.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, I've been quite disgusted by some of the things he said.
The Chief Rabbi is in any case not representing Jews of Stamford Hill.
Right.
We have our own Chief Rabbi. We are not recognizing this Chief Rabbi.
Yeah.
You can prove it that my Jews, we're eating only kosher. Yes? So there is a kosher supervision of, let's say, the Chief Rabbi. Yes, he have his Bezdin. It's Bezdin, that means his rabbinical court. And one of the things what the rabbinical court do is supervise some manufacturers and they give a stamp, yes, this is kosher. Yes? Bring in this food with his stamp. Nobody in Stamford Hill will touch it.
Ah, interesting.
Nobody will believe that it's real kosher.
That it's really kosher.
Nobody will touch it. We have our own rabbinical court. We have our own supervision on making sure it's kosher. Nobody will rely on him. He cannot speak in the name of Judaism, of real true Torah Jews. Even he wear a beard with a hat. But his whole community, most of them, not most, much more than most of them, the large percentage, maybe 90% of them, they are not keeping Shabbos, not keeping kosher. They're only coming in Shul, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. That's all. Right. They're starting Judaism and they're finishing. Maybe they make also a circumcision for the children, but that's all.
Yeah.
They don't keep Judaism, so he cannot really speak in behalf of Jews. I mean, we are not care about him at all.
Right, okay, yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be the rabbinical court, our rabbinical court. They need to have some connections because their connections to the government. Maybe they need to have some connections with him. They keep maybe some good relationship with him. They're not argue each other, but he cannot speak in behalf of Jews at all.
Right. I'm quite well known in the Zionist circles for having been one of the main people to produce this book. I don't know whether you've ever seen this book before.
No, at the moment, no.
No, okay. It's a very popular book about a survivor, and I knew Sam very well, and he kind of regarded me as his son. But to cut a long story short, he was a very damaged individual due to his experiences in the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. And kind of this book caught the public imagination. It's in many respects it's a typical survivor book of many. So because of that, he had these. one of his issues in the camps was, why is he being persecuted? There's nowhere for me to go. I need a land. And after the war, he just about survived. He joins the IDF and becomes a fighter for the state of Israel. And I know he would be appalled that I've doubted Zionism. Since October the 7th of 23.
He's still alive?
No, he's dead. He died a few years ago. But since October 7, I've had to do a crash course in Zionism and understand where it comes from. And the more I'm learning, the more horrified I have been.
I didn't want to speak again about a person.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, somebody who had gone through the Holocaust, such a bad time, how can he join after that the IDF? How can he do the same thing what the Nazis have done to him and to his family? How can he do that for the Palestinians? I just wonder, the Palestinians didn't make the Holocaust. Why should the Palestinians pay the price what the Nazis have done? I just wonder how people can, after the Holocaust, go to join the IDF in doing for other innocent people the same thing what the Nazis have done to them.
Yeah,
I didn't offend any person.
No, not at all, but it's absolutely sacrilege to say what you've just said in a Zionist company. But I've said it, and I say it a lot, and I've said it directly to Zionists. It's like a mirror image. It's a traumatic response. Something's done to them, and people who don't think, or think people aren't perhaps rooted in the spiritual tradition of Judaism, will just slide into doing it to others. It's a psychological thing that I don't fully understand. But
okay, let's go back to the point.
But yeah, I think one of my questions actually was where does our Jewish spiritual tradition allow for all this killing, sadism and torture that's taking place in Gaza now? Is there, I mean, the Zionists can point to a place in the Bible, and I've written some of the places here in the Bible where they think it's allowed. I mean, let me go to one of them. So there's the book of, well, I mean, the main one that everyone knows of is Amalek. Benjamin Netanyahu kind of summoned Amalek just before the war. How do you interpret Amalek?
Look, firstly, who are the Zionists to quote the Bible? They don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in the Torah. They don't believe in nothing. Netanyahu, did he make a circumcision for his sons? Did he keep Shabbos? Did he keep kosher? Did he keep Yom Kippur? He was here in England. He eat in a non-kosher restaurant, demonstrating that we eat non-kosher. How can he dare even to bring the Bible on his mouth?
I see.
I'm sorry, he don't believe in the Bible. He don't believe in the Torah.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
You can understand that he only use the Bible, but he himself don't believe in that. Using that for his own interests. So you can understand that he twisted out everything what is written in the Bible just to serve his own materialistic interests. Now I come to the point you're asking about Amalek. Firstly, I'm speaking on his tracks. Who told him who is Amalek? Who told him that the Muslims are Amalek? The Palestinians are Amalek? Who connect them? Who did it? He do it himself because he wants so. He can say that for the English people, they are Amalek. He can for the French, for the Americans, whoever he wants, he can be Amalek. I mean, and then take everything what is written in the Torah about Amalek and put it on the English people. Why? Who connected to them? It's not written in the Torah. Amalek is Palestinians. So how we do that? This firstly. Secondly, the Torah, God gave the Torah for the Jewish people. And he wrote in the Torah many things. But when God say for Jewish people, when they come in the Holy Land to do this and to do this, and to kill the Amalek and that, how it appeals 3,500 years later. How can he take something what God say for people at that time and say, oh no, it's for today? 3,500 years later, take out this verse and put it on today's day. I mean, it's real crazy. How can he do that?
Right.
We have to study very carefully what's written in the Torah exactly. Everything what's written in the Torah, it's a prophecy. Netanyahu is not a prophet. He cannot say what to do and what not to do. Now, Amalek, the idea of Amalek means people who are uprooting Jewish people from the religion. They are defined as Amalek.
People who kill Jews and all
Not kill Jews, uprooting them from the religion.
What can you define that a bit clearer? Uprooting from the
Taking away Jewish people from the religion, make them for non-believers,
make them non-believers.
make them for sinners.
I get it, right.
This people is described as Amalek. It's true that for 3,500 years, Amalek was specifically on a special nation. But today we don't know who is this nation.
Right.
It's written in our scriptures, even in the books, that Sancherib, I don't know if you heard about him. Sancherib.
Sancherib, no.
He was one of the strongest kings, one of the kings for about 2,500 years ago. He was a king almost in the whole world. And he mixed up the nations from one place to the other, because he wants to make that no more English people, no more French, so nobody will rebel against him. He mixed up everything. Everyone is for everybody. The whole world is for everybody. There are not such things like English, like French, like Spanish, Finnish. He mixed up everything. So we don't know really who is Amalek can point up, look, this is Amalek today.
Right.
But it's still there, the idea of Amalek, they're still in a spiritual way. People who are uprooting Jewish people from the religion, make them for sinners, make them for non-believers in God, they are described as Amalek. Still, we haven't got the right and the power to kill them. Today, in today's day.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, but however, this is what we are describing as Amalek. Now, when you look in today, who are uprooting Jewish people from the religion? There are maybe many of them, but the most of them, the strongest power to uproot Jewish people from the religion is the state of Israel, Netanyahu.
I get it.
So if somebody is Amalek in today's day, is himself.
Yeah.
And this is one of our rabbis that I mentioned before, the Chofetz Chaim. Chofetz Chaim was one of the strongest rabbis about 400 years ago.
100 years ago.
But it was already after the idea of Zionism. He's pointed out that the Zionists are today the Amalekists.
That's a very interesting thought, yes. I've heard other Jews describe Amalek as subhuman or bestial creatures. And as you say, you don't know, no one quite knows who they were, as you've said, but that would fit with what they would probably be criminals, paedophiles.
We cannot point out who is Amalek, and we haven't got anyway the power to punish them and to do something. We cannot do it without a prophecy. We cannot go to say, oh, he is a criminal, and even a bunch of 1,000 criminals. Yes, even we have the power, we cannot judge like that. Oh, of course, they are Amalek, and because of them we have to kill them, because it's written in the Torah for 3,500 years ago that we have to kill Amalek. This is crazy. If somebody is criminal, you have to take him to court, bring a prosecutor, and give them the chance to have a lawyer, and make a court, and see if he is guilty, punish him as the punishment what the judge decide. You cannot today say, oh, these people, oh, this whole bunch of people are criminals. We have to kill them all. This is Amalek. This is crazy. How to judge?
So what you're saying is that because 3,000 years ago, it was probably acceptable to kill them, as it says in the Bible. But because we don't know who they were, it's not acceptable.
It's
now.
not only that. And there was a prophecy of God. Exactly. You see these people? These are the Amaleks. You have to kill them. A completely different thing. And you can't take some prophecies from 3,500 years and just put it on the head of the head of Palestinians and just kill Palestinians there in Amalek. This is crazy.
Of course.
Everybody thinks straight. This is crazy. How can people justify like that?
Yeah.
But Netanyahu and people like him, they're looking something to justify themselves, so they're taking out of some verses of the Torah what serves his own political agenda.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I think that's you've explained Amalek very well, I think. And similarly, there's something that I've made a note of from the Book of Numbers. According to the Book of Numbers, in one of its statements, it says, "If you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then shall those that you let remain harass you in the land wherein you dwell." So Zionists kind of take that more literally as meaning if you allow your enemies to live by your side, they will continue to kill you. So it follows that the Palestinians must be killed in war or expelled, or...
Maybe we have to kill all the English people because of this verse. Because if I leave them, they will kill me, so I have to kill all the English people here in England. This is crazy. You're taking something what God say for that time,
so
for that time, and he put it 3,000 years later. That means that I can kill the Palestinians. This is crazy.
So
crazy to think even.
Yeah, so your explanation is similar really to what you said about Amalek. It's just completely out of context.
This was a command on that time by Prophet Moses to the people what lives at that time.
Yeah, okay. Well, then this leads me on to my next big question, which is this whole idea of the Jews being the chosen people. Now, we know what that means in terms of Zionism. It means they're better than others. They're chosen to lead or chosen to kill, or that they can look down on others because they're chosen. That's how a lot of anti-Semitism seems to have arisen. Because Jews consider themselves the chosen people. Now, I actually have. I personally don't think that.
In these terms of chosen people, why they are different from the Nazis? It's the same idea from the Nazis. The Nazis think also that they are chosen, they are allowed to kill. The Jews, the Gypsies, I don't know, all this, they are lower class. In these terms of chosen, if you think this means chosen, that you are, not you, I mean, Jews are the kings, all the others are the slaves, and if not, they will all be killed and blah, 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 something like that. So what are different from the Nazis? So they are real justifiers of the Nazi ideology.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there.
And Netanyahu describes himself that he is a Nazi.
Yeah, I think
Not
he does.
less than that.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
He does.
No, the chosen people is completely a different concept. I will try to explain it. God gave the Torah for the Jewish people for 3,500 years ago on the Mount Sinai. He chose the Jewish people to serve them better, to serve them closer. All the people on the world have seven laws of Noah. Jews have 613.
Yeah, I've heard Rabbi Shapiro explain this as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
God chose people to serve him closer, to be closer to him, to be more spiritual, to be enlighten the whole world with a believing God and with how the behavior, with a good behavior, exactly the opposite what the Zionists is doing. God chose these people to enlighten the whole world with their believing and with a good behavior, to show for the people how to live on the world. The world is here for a purpose. We are not like the creatures. We are not like the animals. An animal, they're born for no purpose. They're dying, nothing will happen with them. Yes, like the dogs and the cat.
Yeah,
Nothing
I
happened.
think they do have a purpose, but it's a different one.
Yes. Of course, everyone have a purpose on the world. But his whole purpose is starting when he born and the finishing when he died.
Yeah.
But people are not like that. People have another world. This world is a preparation for the other world. Here on this world, we have to believe in God. We have to do what God asking us to do. We have to serve him. And God shows some people to enlighten the whole world with it. And to show a sample for the world what it means for a believer.
And the most important thing about that is that it's hard work and it's not about our egos.
No. Now, first thing, before we go in anything deeper, we have to understand, Judaism, it's not a race. It's not a nationality. Judaism is a religion. Have nothing to do with a race. You can be Jewish, white, black, Japanese, Chinese, no difference. Everybody who convert to Judaism, he's a Jew like me. But I'm already all generations Jewish. He converted today. Yes, he believes in the Jewish state and principles. And he going a circumcision or something like that. A spiritual bath. I mean, it's some point what you have to go to. And he's the same Jew like me. From the other side, we as Jews, what makes a Jew for a Jew? Look in Maimonides. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I know quite a bit about him.
Yes, in Perik Chelek in Sanhedrin, he writing, everybody who believes in this state and principles, he is described as a Jew. Everybody who is not clear in this state and principles, he is not described as a Jew.
Right.
Everybody who is believing in the state and principles, even we have some sins, he will get his punishment, but is still Jewish. But if he don't believe in the Jewish principles, even we don't have any sins, he is not described as a Jew.
So
A Jew means a believer, at least in this state and principles, 100% clear.
So we're talking Maimonides' 13 principles, aren't we? When you're saying
Yes,
that,
yes.
Because there's also is it 6 or 7 main principles that the whole world follows, and then 613 for Jews.
No. This is commandments.
Those.
7 laws of Noah,
Yeah, that's it.
And we have 613 laws. Don't eat not kosher, keep the Shabbos, don't put the light on Shabbos, don't drive in Shabbos. This is commands.
Yeah.
Yes? All the world have 7 commands.
Right.
But now we're speaking about the belief. You have to believe 13 principles to become a Jew.
I see. Yeah.
And if not, they are not counted as a Jew, even if he's born all the generations Jewish. And I explain it every time for people to understand it better. They can understand Islam. What means Islam? You have a country. What means Islam? You have a house. You have trees. What means Islam is a belief. Everybody who joined this belief, he's a Muslim. He gone away from this belief. Even we say, I'm already a Muslim 20 generations. Yes, a Muslim will ask him, but do you believe in the Muslim principles? He say no. So you are not a Muslim. That's all. Same thing as Judaism. A Jew means a believer. He means he keep the Torah. That means a Jew. If not, he can say whatever name he wants. Yes? Like a Muslim will say, I'm a non-believer, but I'm a Muslim. Everybody can understand this. A contradiction. It doesn't work together. Yes? If you are a non-believer, you are not a Muslim. If you are a Muslim, means a believer. Yeah, it doesn't go. The same thing as Judaism. Judaism is not a race. It's not a nationality. Zionism try to transform Judaism from a religion into a nationality. What means a Jew? Come to Israel, save the army, speaking Hebrew. I don't know what, blah, 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 like that. You are Israeli, you don't have to be a Jew even. You are a good Israeli, then you are Jewish. You finish. But us, it's not like that. Jew means somebody who is a believer. And it's not my words. This is the words of Maimonides. Everybody can see that. It's in Sanhedrin, Sof Perik Chelek. It's very clearly. So, this is what Judaism is. And when I come already to this point, let me point out another point to understand why we are against the state of Israel and the idea of Zionism. Jews are in exile in today's day. We are in exile by divine decree. God sent us in exile. The Zionists often waving the flag of the promised land, the promised land, the promised land. But what they're ignoring is what is written in the Torah many times, that the land was promised for Jewish people conditionally, if they keep a high level of life. If not, it's written in the Torah many times, they will be exiled of the land. And one of them, I don't know if you heard about, we say Kriya Shema every day. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Yeah. So it's 3 parts. Shema, V'hoyem Shemoya, in Tzitzis. In the second part, V'hoyem Shemoya, it's written very clear in the Torah. God will give you the land if you will keep a high level of life. If not, you will be exiled of the land. And when you look in the book of Jeremiah, yes. In the end, you will see that God sent Jeremiah and other prophets to warn Jews to repent. If not, they will be exiled. And you can see that very clearly in Jeremiah. We were exiled by God. We are in exile by divine decree, as a punishment of our sins. Now, going out of exile by force is a rebellion against the Almighty. Very simple. It's like a father say for a child, look, you are bad, I have to punish you. Stay in the corner for 10 minutes. He coming out. What means that? Rebellion. Couldn't care less about you, about your punishment, to do whatever I want. The same thing if God sends us in exile, and we say no, we're going out. This is a rebellion against the Almighty. Right, so you can understand. This is the Jewish belief. Because of that, we're sitting in exile patiently. We are not tried to rebel. We were exiled the last time of the Holy Land 2,000 years ago. The whole 2,000 years, nobody Nobody tried even to go out of exile. We were besworn of 3 oaths by God, not to rebel against the nations, not to go up to the Holy Land, and not to force up the redemption of the world. Stay in exile till the coming of Messiah.
Oh, no, that's the thing, the coming of Messiah.
We can speak later about the coming of Messiah, but we come back to this point later. Yeah. But because of that, we're staying in exile patiently, because we trust in God. Even when God sent us into exile, in Jews gone through many bad situations, still we are not lost our trust in God. When a father punishes a child, he means really to help the child, to take them out from his bad manners, he tried to put them on the right direction, on the right way. We are in the same thing what God do with us. I know many people say, how you can say that? Jewish people gone through such bad times, so many blood libels, so many persecutions, so much. Look like the Second World War. Yes, what happened in Auschwitz. How you can say, how you can keep trusting God? My answer to that is very simple. If somebody go in the hospital for a checkup, and unfortunately they come up, I'm sorry, mister, you have the cancer. If you want to keep alive, you have to make an operation. And it will be very painful, the surgeon. Do you want to do it? Normal, a person say, of course, I didn't want to die. Well, if I have to do it, I have to do it. They go in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for 6 months. Gone the procedure, and then to recovery. After 6 months, he going out, he going home, healthy. What is say for the doctor? Thank you. He give him money. Why? He causes so much pain. 6 months you are already in the hospital with so much pain. Why you pay money? Why you tell him thank you? Because he understands it's for his favor. Well, how you know it's for your favor? You are a doctor. He say that. Who tell you that's for your favor? He understand. This doctor have nothing why to make me all these bad things. He say that I have, not me, I mean that this person have the cancer, and I understand everything what is done is for his favor. I'm not a doctor, I don't understand why. I don't understand what he done. Yes, but I believe in him. This is a human being, a simple doctor. Now we're speaking about God, the creator of the world. We are not questioning why he took us in the hospital and why we gone through such a painful operation. You don't question the doctor. We don't question God. He's not a human being.
I understand.
And we're still going after God with blind eyes. We're trusting in God. This is what Judaism stands for. Now, let's speak about Zionism. Zionists are built up by people but they are non-believers. The father of Zionism was Theodor Herzl. Theodor Herzl from Vienna, Austria. He was a non-believer, completely. He didn't make even a circumcision for his own sons. I'm sure that you know that even people but they are not keeping nothing, but still they're making a circumcision for the children, at least. This is one of the last thing. He didn't make a circumcision. He was proud of that. He was an unbeliever. He don't believe in God. He don't believe on the Torah. He have a different look. He just look, Jewish people are in exile. Why? There's no reason for that. What we have to do, what the English people should do if they are in exile, they have to organize themselves, grab a piece of land, and build up a country. The same thing Jewish people have to do that. So as you can understand, Zionism is built up on the root of non-believing in God. Judaism is believing in God.
Yeah.
Now you can understand why Jews are fundamentally against the idea of Zionists. I know there are some religious Zionists, the settlers, something like that.
But they're clearly going against all the laws and rules.
Yes, no, but I want to bring out the point that they are completely in a contradiction.
Yeah.
Completely in a contradiction. When you corner them, they have a contradiction. Something in Chabad, I explained you. They understand Zionism is bad. They know Zionism is built up on atheism, or don't believe in God, don't trust in God. They're coming from the point of danger. But the other people, the so-called religious Zionists, they are living in a contradiction at all. Because according to the Torah, Jews have to stay in exile and await the coming of Messiah. Don't go out of the corner yourself. Going out of the corner is a rebellion against the Almighty. Now I will come back to the point of chosen people. I'm sorry, I got away just to...
No, you've explaining it quite logically.
Yes.
I understand.
Chosen people, God chose people spiritually to enlighten the world with the believing God, with all the commandments what the God asked, not 613, the 7 laws of Noah at least, for people to know what is the purpose here on the world, why they came down here on the world. This means chosen. Not we are the kings, everybody the slaves, and we kill all the people. Chosen people doesn't mean a materialistic idea at all.
Not like Donald Trump.
No, this is spiritual.
Yeah.
Chosen people is a spiritual thing to enlighten the world. Exactly the opposite of what the Zionists is doing.
Yeah.
Exactly the opposite. This means chosen people.
Yeah. And I've heard one rabbi explain that in a way of similar to the Buddhists. What did he say? He said, the more you try to become in tune with God, the more nothing you are, if you like. You become nothing. You dissolve rather than build. You know, it's totally opposite from boosting.
100%, but I don't compare it with Buddhism. I never touched any other religion.
Yeah,
and
no,
I didn't want really to go in other religion.
Yeah.
I didn't want to comment about other religion.
I
But
mean,
that point, what you said, is true.
yeah, I did. It was a rabbi I heard. I've forgotten his name as well. I really should have.
No different. This is one of the basic principles of Judaism, what you said.
And he was talking about the idea of the closer you get to God, the more nothing you are. Perhaps you could just elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, it's true what you said. I mean, I must say that what you say, the more nothing you are, it's not really you are nothing. It's the opposite. As more closer you got, as more greater you are. But you feeling yourself, you feel that you are nothing. That, take for example here, as more closer you are to the king, you feel more that you are nothing. As more you are, person for you are you're more far away from the king. If you want to be closer to him, then you have to be under him and to be more nothing. But more nothing, in reality, these people are really the great people. You have to learn by them very much.
Yeah, because we're talking about God who is infinite. And that's inconceivable. You know, you just don't know. Being chosen is totally the opposite from what people think chosen is.
100%.
Yeah, you're not chosen to bully people. You're not chosen to
100%.
to kill people, anything like that.
And you can see that. Look in the history of Jews. Yes, since 2000 years. We are living in all the countries, and we have many powerful people, especially in the Muslim lands. Jewish people took key positions in many Muslim countries, and they never have this idea even to organize themselves and to build up their own country and to be, like you said, bullying other people and something like that. Never.
No. Is there any circumstance in which a Jew can kill another person, whoever that might be?
We haven't got the power. Like our government, I'm sorry, I don't know the law here, if they have death punishment or not. I don't know.
There's no capital punishment,
No,
but there
but
is.
in the USA there was.
There still is, yeah.
There still is, yes. In our government, they have some, if the judge, they're going through some courts and appealing the court and they come up, yes, 100%, this person should be killed. They kill him. We haven't got this power at all. We haven't got any power.
Right.
And we haven't got no right to kill anyone. Even somebody is real bad, it's not, leave it for God.
Right.
I'll give it for the government. They should judge them.
Right. So
We haven't got even a judge system today.
So basically, if you're a real Jew, there's you're just not allowed to judge and condemn anyone.
From condemn to kill, it's a big gap. Of course, we can condemn in the idea to say he is wrong, he is not wrong. I mean, we can condemn, but not to do anything physically.
Right.
Not to touch him physically. Not only in killing, even not to punish physically. We have no power for that.
Right. Jews can't kill. Is there any instances where laws can be broken?
Can be broken or has been broken?
No, it is allowed.
Of course, there's that. No. I mean, at least not that. I mean, of course, there are the whole Torah, yes, if it's a danger of life, yes,
Yeah.
you can put it on side. Like, if somebody is in danger of life and the doctor said he must eat non-kosher, then he's allowed to eat it.
Then that's allowed.
And the same thing if somebody have to go to the hospital on Saturday.
Yeah.
We are not driving Saturday, but there are Jewish ambulances. If there is, it's called pikuach nefesh, that means a danger of life, they may drive on Saturday.
I see.
The whole Torah is gone away for the danger of a life.
Yeah, well, what about, say, if I started to attack you now? Do you have a right to try and...
I have the right to defend myself.
You can defend yourself.
I can defend myself, but don't mix it up with Zionism. Zionism didn't come up here to defend itself. Zionism say every time...
It's colonial.
The Zionism say every time, we have the right to defend ourselves. It's one of the justification.
It is, yes.
But who gives them the right to be there in first place? It's not your land. You come in the head of other people, take over the land, and then you say you have the right to defend yourself. You go in, you take over someone's house, and when he comes with his friends to fight, you say, I'm just defending. Sorry, get out of the house. Give it back for the right owner. It's not yours. Who gives you the land? If the Nazis killed you, go to the Nazis, claim a land. Why do you come on the head of the Palestinians? The Zionists justify themselves. The Jews gone through a Holocaust. We need a safe country. What do you want from the Palestinians? Go to the Nazis. What do you want from the Palestinians?
Yeah.
They didn't do you nothing.
Yeah.
We have a golden life with the Palestinian people before Zionism.
Although a lot of Zionists say there was no such thing as Palestinians before 1948. You know, they were Arabs that came from places like Syria and Jordan. Now let's have a little pause here to familiarise ourselves with the Zionist perspective on this question of whether there is such a thing as a Palestinian people or not. The pretentious and arrogant JTV host Ollie Anisfeld erroneously puts the Zionist position like this.
You know, it's interesting. This is the United Nations partition plan, which is in 1947 when they proposed splitting the land into an Arab state and a Jewish state. Here's the interesting thing. Where's the word Palestine? Why aren't they calling it a Palestinian state? It literally says, as you can see here, Jewish state in the blue, and in the orange, Arab state. They recognize that these are Arabs. It's an Arab state. They're just Arabs. They're not a unique national identity. There's just a lot of Arabs that were living in that country. In this plot of land, I should say. So, think about this. And I often show this map, and I think it's so important for people to look at this and acknowledge the truth. Had, God forbid, the Arabs defeated Israel in 1948, God forbid, had they done that, then this is what the map would have looked like. Let me just get it up to make sure I have it. Here. So you'd have Egypt would have a chunk of the land, Jordan would have a chunk, Syria, Lebanon. Where's the free Palestine? Where's the Palestinian state for the Palestinians? No. And then again in 1967, they tried to destroy Israel in 1973, and that would have been the outcome, this kind of map, God forbid. Where's the Palestinian state? Where's the Palestinians they're trying to liberate?
Now let's get back to the interview where I put Mr. Anisfeld's assertion to the rabbi. A lot of Zionists say there was no such thing as Palestinians before 1948. You know, they were Arabs that came from places like Syria and Jordan.
Okay, so we have just to be blind. Everybody knows a bit of history. Knows that for 100 years ago, and there was a full land. The Zionists bringing up Jewish people with money tricks from Europe and from everywhere to become a majority.
Yeah, that's not really a
Everybody who reads the history, we don't have to bother with people that are just blind in the history.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the people were living there, Arabs were there.
They are Palestinians. And the Zionists come on the head of these people in taking away the land. That's all. They say that England give them the land, or the UN give them the land.
Yeah.
Who are the UN to give the land?
Yeah.
Who? Can I understand? Can the UN come and to say this piece, let's say Wales, should go to Ireland? Can they say that? Who are the UN to say
that? Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The land belongs to the people who live there.
Yeah. No,
you can call them whatever names, Syrians,
Yeah.
These people who live there, to them belongs the land. The UN cannot come to say, I took it over from the Turks and I give it for a present for the Spanish. Yeah. How? What's that? Yeah. It's not your land.
Yeah, no, but I fully agree with you there. But I think, and it's really a non-point. I mean, Zionists do say there was just no such thing as Palestinians before 1948. They were just Arabs.
A land without people for people without land. Say.
But in a way, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. You know, they were. I would say that if they weren't Palestinians, they were living on that land. They were Arabs. They were good people, and I mean, it does seem to me that. You know, it was how the British divided things up. The Palestinian state was created. There weren't as such a people called Palestinians, but there were Arabs there. I mean, I think it's really not really. I think it's a non-point, but this is a big thing that the Zionists say. The Zionists say there's no such thing as Palestine. You know, I mean. Presumably that's irrelevant to you, because as far as you're concerned, there were Arabs living on that land.
100%. I told you, I'm already 7 generations there. Yes, my mother told me, she remembered we used to live with the Palestinian neighbors in such a good relationship. We used to babysit each other, the children.
Yeah. No.
My mother remembered that. My mother is already 90. God should give her a healthy and long life. But she remembered that. There was 90% of the population was non-Jews.
Yeah.
Jews was only 10%, maybe less than that.
But this really quite irrelevant point that that you can't say they were Palestinians is probably true, but it doesn't really matter. They were, well, whatever you call them, they had a right to that land and they shouldn't have been thrown off.
So this, again, coming to the point what the Zionists say, we have to defend ourselves. This is not self-defense. This is taking over someone else's house.
Yeah.
You want to finish the fight? Very nice. Get out of the house. That's all. Give it back for the right owner.
Yeah.
That's all. The fight is finished.
Yeah.
Everything is over. That's all. This is not defending ourselves.
Yeah. But just on this kind of very technical point, would your mother say that she, long before 1948, your grandparents and great-great-parents, would they have recognised a Palestinian people?
Of course. 90% of the land was Palestinians, was Arabs.
But the Zionists do seem to say that these people kind of made up Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and they're kind of Palestinian.
I'm speaking now about this piece of land. According to the Zionists, it was empty.
Yes, that's one of their
It
sayings.
was empty, only cats and foxes living there. What was with this piece
that's
of
ridiculous.
land?
I think that's ridiculous. But
It's crazy.
But I thought
Everybody just open the book of history and you will see exactly the figures, facts and figures, and that's all.
Yeah, but there is what I thought was a big non-point, and I thought it was true that there was no such things as a people called Palestinians.
Whatever they're called, these people who lives in this land,
Yeah.
the land belongs to them.
Yeah.
And even if the Turks was on the head, okay, what they can do, yes?
Yeah.
But the land belongs to the people. When Turks gone away, it belongs to these people.
Yeah.
The UN should give it for these people. The UN should make votes in the land and to create a government. And the land belongs to the population living there. And it cannot come Spanish people from outside and say, oh, it's no one's land, we took it.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Yeah.
And it's very natural that the people who live there for generations of generations, already 2,000 years, that they're rebellion and say, no, this is our land.
Yeah. But we don't. I mean, would you say a people called the Palestinians specifically existed, say, in 1800?
Give a look. 1 second. We're going in a side road.
Yeah.
Again, according to Judaism, we have no right to rule any land. Palestine or England or France. No difference. Even not, you will take no one's land. You find some place, no one's land. We have no right to have our land. God sent us in exile, we have to stay in exile. It's not our business to whom belongs the land.
I see.
You give it for the Turkish, give it for the French, give it for the Spanish. No different. Not for us.
Not for us.
We are in exile by divine decree.
By divine decree.
And we are loyal to God. We are trusting God. We are not rebel against Him.
Yeah.
For whom the land belongs, it's not my business.
Okay.
I leave it for the nations.
So can you say a bit about...
I mean, I have what to say, but I didn't want to go in some side roads.
Yeah, no, I just the fact that you don't want to do that
Yes.
Says a lot in itself, you know.
Yes,
and
yes.
So we don't have to go into these petty arguments as to what a Palestinian is and when it happened and when Palestine came. So let's talk more on the spiritual aspect of it all and talk about what it means when the Messiah comes.
It is the same thing what I told you before. The Zionists taking two things from the Torah and twist it out for their own need, for their own purposes, what they want to use it for, like the promise of the Holy Land, and like all the verses what you are asking for. The same thing is with Messiah. When we think, what is that Messiah? We have to look in the books of the prophets to see what that Messiah. We cannot make up our own Messiah, what we want, and then say, oh, this is not. You have to look at the books of the prophets. What means Messiah? Messiah don't means he will not be another Netanyahu. He will not kill innocent people in just to say, I'm the king, everybody is my slaves, and if not, everybody will be killed. No, not that is Messiah. Messiah meaning, Messiah will be a prophet. He will not do nothing. He will come down on this world with much spiritual. He will bring in spiritual in all our heart, in my heart, in your heart, in the heart of all the people. All the people will repent and serve the same God in harmony and peace. He will not do anything. He will just turn the heart from inside. Completely turn everyone's heart to God.
So that relates to something you said at the very beginning, which is everyone needs to be sincere in the way they see God, in the way they have to.
I say something.
Yeah.
When Messiah will come, there will be peace on the whole world. It's written in Psalms, chapter 97. It's not only there, it's full. So in all the scriptures are full of that. Yeah. But I give you one example. Hashem mulach tugelu et yismechi im rabim. You read Hebrew now?
No.
Chapter 97, you can see that. When God will be king, that means when he will send his Messiah, the whole world will be happy. Everyone will be happy. It's written in the prayer book, all the people will come together and making a bind together to serve the same God in harmony and peace. Yeah. In our scriptures, maybe you heard about it, Messiah described Uni veroiche valachamo. That means a poor man coming on a white donkey. We don't know what it means because there are no donkeys today. Yes? But this is a prophecy. When the Messiah will come, we will see that. We will see what's happened. But what is the description of Messiah? Not a strong man coming and he will... No, a poor man coming on a white donkey. The description of Messiah is a holy man, a man full of spiritual. And he will give over the spiritual on the whole world. He will change the whole world. Then it will be the redemption on the whole world. People will understand that my purpose of life is not to have a nice Cadillac with, I don't know what, not this is my purpose of the life.
Swimming pool, a yacht, a jet.
They will understand something. There's a purpose of the world. This is something on the world, but it's much more important than a nice car.
Yeah.
And he will turn the minds of people to serve the same God in harmony and peace. And at that time, there will be peace on the whole world. Everybody will be happy.
And that automatically also assumes that everyone should purify themselves of sin.
Yes. Messiah will bring people to repent to God. Willingly, they will repent to God and come back to God.
Yeah.
This is a description of Messiah. Messiah is not somebody coming with power like Netanyahu, killing and doing.
Yeah.
No, it's completely taking out of concept.
Yeah.
And I will tell you much more, deeper a bit. The meaning of Messiah is, in the purpose of Messiah, what his job will be to bring people close to God, to bring people to serve God. The purpose of Zionism is to take away people from God.
Yeah.
Don't believe in God. Don't trust Him. Organize yourself. You say you are Jewish, you believe in God, you trust Him, you are crazy. How long you will wait for Messiah? He will not come, He will never come. Huh? What are you waiting? Don't trust in God.
Yeah.
This is what Zionism is here for.
Yeah.
So Zionism have exactly the opposite purpose.
Yeah.
Messiah will bring people to God, and they're taking away people from God. How can they say we're doing the job of Messiah? It's completely the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
I must tell you, a country for people is a very important thing. To have a country, yes, but it's not the most important.
no.
Not the most important. We Jews understand we have another purpose in this world. Of course, we want a country, but it's not the most important thing for us. We have much more important things.
To be observant.
Believers and be observant, and that we know we're doing that not only on this world but forever.
Yeah. Just very briefly, although this isn't a brief subject, do you believe in Kabbalah and Zoha and all the hugely deep spiritual things?
Well, look, Kabbalah and Zoha is not something what a person can study. This is not a study. This is something what you have to purify yourself.
Yeah.
To come into that.
Yeah.
Your lifestyle should be much more holy, much more on a higher level. And without that, even you think you understand, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
You can make mathematical calculation in Kabbalah,
Yeah.
but it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's people means that they know what it is, but Kabbalah and Zoha is not a thing like that.
Yeah.
Kabbalah and Zoha is something what you have to come in with your life in that. And then you will see a new world.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a student of Kabbalah?
No.
Yourself, Zoha?
No. Because this is the reason. The reason, first thing, usually people under 40 years, we are not studying Kabbalah. And more than 40 years, this is only for special people where their lifestyle is on a more higher level.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And even if I try my best, I mean, to be an observant Jew and not to do any sins, but I understand that for Kabbalah and Zoha, I have to be much more higher. Could be. I'm not going to die tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I have still a few
Yeah.
years. Could be it will come.
Yeah.
Another 5 years, another 10 years, could be.
Yeah. But you know, so anyone who wants to be humble in a way shouldn't boast about knowing the Kabbalah. It's not something to.
And it's, yes. And people, what they say, that they are learning Kabbalah and those.
Yeah.
You can study it as a calculation, but it's nothing.
Yeah. Have you heard of a very prominent Jewish person called Yeshayahu Leibowitz?
And he's alive today?
No, he's dead.
When?
1960s he died. He was a very prominent Jewish thinker. I just wondered if you knew of him.
Shai Leibowitz?
Yeshayahu Leibowitz.
He was an observant Jew?
I'm not sure. I don't know much about him, but he was. I mean, we won't say a lot about him, but
he was a rabbi?
He was very critical of Israel. He lived in Israel, very critical of Israel, and he actually coined the term that Israelis are turning into Judeo-Nazis. I actually don't know whether. I don't think he was a Zionist. He couldn't be a Zionist.
I didn't remember at the moment.
Right. No, that's fine. I just wondered. I was quite fascinated when you asked me about whether there was the death penalty here or in America. So that kind of said to me, you don't kind of have much interest in the external affairs of the countries.
Look, I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
I'm studying the Jewish Torah, and I'm a rabbi. I'm teaching others, and this is my life. Of course, I study the law of the land where I'm living. Yes?
Yeah.
Because of I want to do everything according to the law. Yes? And of course, if it's happened to be that it will be a war between England and France, and I have to go to the army, I have to give my this is my country here in England, and I have to do what to do for my country. Yes,
Yeah.
I have to do that. But to study exactly the English law, exactly, if I want to become a lawyer, then I will study everything exactly.
Yeah.
But I studying the Jewish law.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And in England, I want to be a loyal citizen to the country. What they're asking for, I'm here for that.
Yeah, no, I fully appreciate and understand that. I'd just like to say a few names. These names are kind of names that it's a mixture of people who are Zionists and people who are very much anti-Zionist. I'm just wondering whether you've heard of them. Gad Sad? No.
I don't. The name doesn't call that he was a religious Jew.
That's okay. Norman Finkelstein?
Of course, everybody knows him.
You're aware of him?
Of course.
Do you know him personally?
I met him a few times already.
You've met him, yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't say he's
He's a non-religious, so he coming to. I met him at some conferences, but he coming from the point of human rights.
Human rights. Yeah.
And I coming from the point of the religion.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, human rights is a part of the religion.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, we are very strongly against the state of Israel, even without all my points. Yes,
Yeah.
from the point of human rights himself is enough to stand up against the state of Israel.
Yeah, of course.
But we are not on the same page. No?
Yeah, no, I understand that. Have you heard of someone called Douglas Murray?
No.
No. Ilan Pape?
Yes, of course.
Have you met him?
Of course.
You know him?
Yes, yes. I mean, the same thing like Norman.
The same as
Finkelstein.
Norman, yeah. Shlomo Sand?
No, could be I heard about him.
Yeah.
No, I never met him.
George Galloway?
Of course.
Have
George
you
Galloway, a very good friend of me.
He's a friend of yours?
Yes.
You know, that's very interesting to know.
Ask him my name, he will know exactly who I am.
I'm sure he will. And Owen Jones?
No.
He wouldn't have, yeah, you wouldn't know him. Now, just to end with, as I'm sure I'm taking far more of your time than you would have liked, but we've never said the word Neturei Karta. Neturei Karta. Now, my understanding of Neturei Karta is that it's quite a recent thing, and you are. I wouldn't. Would you define yourself as Neturei Karta, or I would just define you as a very traditional Judaic scholar?
I will explain you exactly. Neturei Karta, it's called guardians of the city.
Yeah.
Neturei is guardians. Karta means city. That means guardians of the Jewish faith. Neturei Karta is not really an organization like all organizations with leadership, with membership, blah, 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 something like that. Neturei Karta is the name what people gave for the fighters of the Jewish religion, the defenders of the Jewish religion. Guardians of the city, guardians of the Jewish religion.
And that name is quite old, isn't it? That's
Yes, 1938, it really becomes as a name.
Right.
As a name, Neturei Karta. But I describe myself as Neturei Karta to use some name, but in reality, I'm just an ultra-Orthodox Jew, like all the Jews.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I praying in all the synagogues.
Yep.
I'm a teacher here in a few schools because I'm teaching special children. I mean, I'm teaching teachers how to find a way to children. Yes, so I'm working in schools here, and I'm praying in many synagogues here.
Yeah.
And I'm welcome, very welcome here. I mean, I'm not a special part of Judaism. I am a normal part of a normal Judaism everywhere. Even I'm going to the USA, the same thing. I'm praying in all the synagogues, not only me.
Yeah.
All the people of Neturei Karta. You can see in the media that sometimes Neturei Karta has been denounced by some religious Jews. Yes, but when you will read carefully what they're writing, you will see that the other people are also against the state of Israel. They are not all the time going with that what Neturei Karta do, like going on demonstrations with Muslims. They say, oh, it's good looks that you're supporting the killings what's happened from the other side or something like that. What we think 100% it's an error, completely error. The Arabs are not our enemies. The Muslims are not Jewish enemies at all. We have a golden life in the Muslim countries for centuries. Everybody knows the history, knows the Jews have the best lives in the Muslim countries for centuries, and even in Palestine. I told you from my mother, she remember, we used to live in the Palestinian neighbors, very good relationship. We used to babysit each other. And even in today's day, yes, in Iran is the biggest enemy of the state of Israel.
Yeah.
There are a large Jewish community of 35,000 Jews
In Iran.
living in Iran.
Yeah.
They don't know what anti-Semitism is. They never experienced it.
Yeah.
They have a golden life there. They have yeshivas, high schools, institutes, Jewish institutes. They have synagogues. They have everything there. A golden life.
Yeah.
And there is in Iran a Jewish hospital funded by the government.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know
And
that.
in Iran, they have to have an MP, you need 500,000 people. This is the rate to get your own MP.
Right.
Jewish people, they have 35,000. They have their own MP.
Right. In Iran.
In Iran,
Wow.
they have a golden. Same thing as in Morocco.
In Morocco. Yeah.
I was in Morocco a few years ago. I just crossed the border from Spain to Morocco. The Muslim people come to me, Rabbi, bless my children. I couldn't believe it. After 70 years of killing in Israel,
Wow. Yeah.
70 years of genocide, still they're coming, Rabbi, bless my children.
Yeah. Wow.
In the Muslim lands, there is no anti-Semitism. Jews live in Morocco, in Tunis, Algeria, Turkey. In Iran, everywhere Jews live peacefully.
Yeah.
Even today, the Muslims don't hate Jews. They're hating occupiers.
Yeah.
No difference who the occupiers is.
Yeah.
If they are Chinese, Japanese, or the French people, or the Jews. No different.
Yeah.
They're hating occupiers. They haven't got nothing against Jews.
Yeah.
The Zionists try to confuse people with anti-Semitism, all of
Yeah.
no, this all have to do only with anti-Semitism. These are crazy people, real crazy.
Yeah. So that's
The Muslims really are good friends of Jews. Look, I give you an example here in Stamford Hill.
yeah.
Yes, we live here, Jews side by side with Muslims. Side by side. Thousands of Jews by thousands of Muslims. Jewish synagogues side by side with mosques. Just here around the corner, you have a few big synagogues of Keesnev Road.
Yeah.
Thousands of Jews praying there. Next door is a big mosque.
Yeah.
And not only that, when the mosque wants to build up, make an extension for the mosque, the Jewish councillors help them to get the permission. The same thing by the Jewish synagogues. They want to build up. The Muslim councillors help them.
Yeah.
All our minicab drivers here, about 400, are Muslim people, and we're sending small children of 2 years to the playgroups with the Muslim drivers.
Yeah.
I never heard even one single incident in the last 40 years I live here.
Yeah.
So I come back to the point only, what I want to bring out, that it's completely not true that the Muslims want to kill Jews, but other people are brainwashed and they think different. So when we go to demonstrate together with the Muslims, people get angry. But they are still very strong against Israel. The same like us. In that we are not arguing. We're arguing just in the way how to fight it.
Yeah.
How to fight Zionism.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And that's a very good point. I didn't ask you that, and I'm glad you brought that up. So that's about the relations with Muslims. And you've made that point exceptionally well. Can you just one quick thing? The Lubavitcher Rabbi,
Lubavitcher Rabbi,
Yeah,
it's Chabad. The same thing as Chabad.
right, the same as Chabad. So,
Chabad is a sect, it's called Chabad. It's called also Lubavitch.
are they anti-Zion?
As I told you already,
Yeah.
they are part anti-Zionist and part Zionist.
I see. Right.
Even the Zionist part, and not because they support the ideology. They understand that if there is a peaceful way how to give back the land for the Palestinians, of course they will agree to do that.
Right.
But they think there's no peaceful way. There will be killings and they will kill everybody and like that.
Yeah.
And because of that, because of the danger, they support Israel.
Yeah, so there's fear
But
there.
if they find a way how to make a peaceful dismantlement of the state of Israel, that all of them are against the ideology of Israel. They understand that Zionism is a rebellion against the Almighty.
Yeah. No, and I fully understand that. And just to end on...
In the same thing, the Lubavitcher Rabbi calls Menachem Mendel Schneerson. His father-in-law, he was the previous Rebbe of Lubavitch. He was very strong against Zionism. Very strong, one of the strongest fighters against Zionism.
Wow, yeah.
But after that, he comes in, when he gets the Rebbe of Lubavitch, he comes in a different situation. There is a war already between Jews and Palestinians. So he thinks, oh, it's danger, what we can do. We have to go on this side. But there are, from him himself, is many verses against Zionists and many verses pro-Zionist. He said that if there would not be Neturei Karta, he would build up a Neturei Karta. I mean,
yeah.
Because his support for Zionism comes from the danger.
Yeah,
Because he thinks there is no peaceful solution. That's all.
Yeah, I see. And you've pretty much also defined Neturei Karta as it's really not a sect or it's just Jews who are being traditional.
100%.
Even though
Normal Jews.
Yeah.
There are many places in the world. Neturei Karta haven't got their own synagogue even.
Yeah.
They're just between all the people. But these are people who are coming out to defend the religion. Defend don't mean in physical means. We are not, you can see me, yes, I haven't got the physical power at all.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not a big man.
Yeah.
Bring out the ideology, open the eyes of people, speaking to people, spreading books, spreading leaflets to open the eyes of people.
Well,
This is our work.
That's great.
I want to add something. What's the solution? What the solution is, again, I'm not a politician. I can just say what's written in the Torah. I'm coming from the point of view of the religion. In the Torah it's written, the reference is in Numbers 14, verse 41. But this point what we spoke earlier, when God commanded Jewish people to stay in the desert for 40 years, many people didn't disagree with that and say, no, we're going up now. And Prophet Moses told them, why do you rebel against God? You will not succeed. A rebellion against God cannot be succeed. Again, Numbers 14, verse 41. A rebellion against God cannot be succeed. As long as the state of Israel is a rebellion against the Almighty, they will not succeed. They will come to an end. We hope and pray to a peaceful end.
You mean Israel will come to an end?
Yes.
Yeah.
We hope and pray to a peaceful end. Nobody looks for bloodshed.
Yeah.
I know that many people say, oh, it's impossible. There will be millions of killings.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are, but
I think we're roughly the same age.
you should remember, for 35 years ago, there was a very strong power. It calls the USSR.
Yeah.
Nobody could imagine that this USSR can come to an end without killings of millions of people. If you remember, the whole world feared from the USSR. This was the second world power. America and the USSR. Two strong powers. People couldn't believe 3 years before that this will come to an end. It comes to an end peacefully, even not one single killing. You remember that?
You mean the big dictators of the Soviet Union?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gorbachev,
Yeah, yeah.
Gorbachev will make suicide.
Yeah, no, yes.
Suicide of the USSR.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's completely dead. I mean, Putin's a dictator, a very...
No, I didn't go in now in the political today what's happened.
But,
I just bring out
Gorbachev
that this power of USSR came to an end completely peacefully.
Yeah, with Gorbachev.
And the same thing happened in South Africa. This is before your times. South Africa, the apartheid regime.
That's well in my time. I'm in my 60s.
You was a small child. Are you in the 60s? Not in my times.
Oh, so you're in your 50s.
In the 50s, yes.
I'm older than you.
Yes. But also people think it will cost so much. It's cost lives, but not so much as people thinking in South Africa. The same thing.
Yes.
That shows that if there is a will, there is a way. If there is a will to bring a peaceful end, there is a way. There will be a way for that. How? I don't know. I leave it for the politicians. But really, I say that all the time. This is my message to our government and to the government of the United States. In the EU, they're supporting so blindly the state of Israel. So blindly.
It is blind. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I understand them. They want to help Jews. They say, look, Jews gone through a Holocaust and we have to help them and blah, 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 and they want to. When they will open their eyes, please open the eyes and see, give a look. The Zionists say, Jews, the end of the day, after all what you say, Jews need to have a country, they need to have a safe haven, they need to have some safe place to live. I mean, even it's not a right idea, but the end of the day, the bottom line, Jews need a country. Yes, I mean, we are right, we are no right, okay, we have not, but at the end of the day, Jews need a country. Jews need to have to be safe. Now, just open the eyes and look. Where, today's day, where is the most dangerous place for a Jew to live? Israel. In the whole world.
Exactly.
You come to one point, Israel. Jews live in the whole world free. Yeah. They have no, even the Muslim countries. Jews live in Morocco, in Iran, they live free. The only place where Jews, not the Palestinians, Jews are in danger, this is in the state of Israel. Yeah. This is the most dangerous place. The Zionists didn't bring any safeness for Jews. Yeah. They say we will save Judaism from Jews from anti-Semitism. They're just raising anti-Semitism in the whole world.
They certainly are. Yeah.
So Zionists didn't save anything. Yeah. It didn't save anything for the Jewish people, not to speak for the Palestinians. For the Jewish people, they didn't save. When America and England will recognize and see you want to help Jews, very nice. But the state of Israel doing exactly the opposite. They only endanger Jews. Yeah. I say every time, I live here in England nearly 40 years.
Yeah, but you come from Israel.
I'm coming from Palestine.
Palestine, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Palestine.
But
yes.
I'm living here nearly 40 years. Yeah. I don't know how an English soldier looks like. I never saw them.
Yes.
I saw them in the changing of the guards.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know how. What is the uniform? I don't know.
Yeah.
That means a safe country. It's safe.
Yeah.
I don't know what this means, a soldier. I never saw a soldier. In Israel, every small child seeing daily life, soldiers, weapons, tanks. It's crazy, a crazy country. Yeah. And that means safeness. Yeah. So I say every time, my message to our government, open the eyes, see, Israel is not in the favor of Jewish people. If you want to help Jewish people, bring a peaceful end to this place. If the USA will spend 10% of the money what they're spending for Israel, only 10%, to find a peaceful solution, they will find it. Mm. If they have the will, they have the way. Yeah. And this is the only solution for the state of Israel. To bring an end of the state of Israel, from the river to the sea, should go back for the Palestinians. It doesn't mean Jews have to be killed. It doesn't mean Jews have to be expelled. We can live there like we live in Morocco. Yeah. Like we live in Iran, like we live in all Muslim countries. Yeah. We can live there, but as loyal citizens to a Palestinian government. This will be the real help for the Jewish people. Yeah. Again, I'm not a politician.
I agree with you.
I'm coming from the point of view of the Torah. In
Yeah.
the Torah it's written, a rebellion against God cannot be succeed.
Yeah.
The state of Israel will come to an end.
Yeah.
We hope and pray to a peaceful end. But this will happen in the end.
Yeah.
We hope I will see it with my eyes.
Because the whole state is a rebellion against God.
100%.
And I think that's a wonderful point to end on. It's a sacrilege state. It's yeah. Well, thank you so much, Rabbi Beck, for your time, and a lot to think about there. Thank you.
Thank you.
The rabbi's final point here about Jews being welcome to live in Palestine without them having to be the rulers of the land was exactly the same point Mahatma Gandhi made, as described here by Ilan Pappé.
When Zionism became a settler colonial movement on the ground with the building of Jewish colonies in late Ottoman Palestine and during the British Mandate, the Palestinian national movement perceived Zionism as an existential threat to the indigenous people of Palestine, a fear that turned to be valid as transpired with the 1948 ethnic cleansing of the people of Palestine during the Nakba. Opposing the Jewish settlers and their plans for the Palestinians' homeland was not anti-Semitic but anti-colonialist, very much as the Algerians objected to the colonization of Algeria. A small group of the Jewish settlers became anti-Zionists themselves when they consented to live within Arab Palestine as guests but not as colonizers, as was advocated to them by Mahatma Gandhi in the 1930s, and because of that position, he was never honored with a street named after him in Israel, not even a small pathway or a staircase.
My final point of this rather lengthy video is to state that the reason why we've not been able to completely avoid straying into the political sphere is because Zionism, which is the founding principle of the Israeli state, is a political ideology that's been cynically, illogically, and, quite frankly, laughably connected up with biblical stories. The way Zionists have tried to legitimate their creed by force-linking biblical stories into their political ideology can only be compared with attempts in mathematics to square the circle. And that analogy in itself gives Zionism a respect it doesn't deserve. One of the main points the rabbi made in the interview was that all the founders of Zionism were not in the slightest bit spiritually aware, nor did they have any regard at all for the fundamental tenets of the Jewish religion. Now, to put the icing on the cake, so to speak, the people who forwarded the Zionist cause during the Second World War and the Holocaust, and then went on to contribute to found the State of Israel, were all Nazi collaborators. Yes, let me repeat that. Many of the founders of the Israeli state were Nazi collaborators. The indisputable facts that prove this statement are systematically listed in this impeccably sourced book by Tony Greenstein, who exceptionally, unconditionally, and absolutely proves how the Zionists sacrificed millions of Jewish lives that could have been saved if they weren't so cravenly obsessed with setting up the Israeli state. The book also documents how the big Holocaust commemoration institutions, such as Yad Vashem, have suppressed this information, and even how sections of the Adolf Eichmann trial that highlighted this information got suppressed and censored when these facts were raised in that particular court case. Because, God forbid, Zionists couldn't be seen to be collaborating with Adolf Eichmann. Surely not. It is therefore not surprising to learn that the Israeli state is now right up there with all the other diabolically perverted, demonic, and morally bankrupted states, both past and present, that have ever existed on this planet. And I thank Rabbi Beck for allowing me to interview him and his fearless campaigning for the peaceful tenets of the real Judaism and how the Israeli state has been founded on distortions of biblical scripture and lies.